Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my January TBR. I've only picked 8 books for the month of January. Some of them are pretty thick and I want to be able to take my time and spend time with them and not feel like I'm falling behind. But I also want to make the space in case there are any arcs or any book mail that I see or any new releases that I want to get to. So that's why I picked 8, and also I'll kind of tell you all how I'm meeting my annual goals as I go along too. So the very first book that I'm going to be picking up in the month of January, and I hope is my first read of 2025 and kind of sets the tone for the year, is going to be Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I have been talking nonstop about how much I want to get into the Cosmere and really understand the hype and the fandom. So this is the best place that I've heard to start, and I am really looking forward to it. This is also on my priority list for 2025, my priority TBR that I talked about in my previous video. So that is meeting that goal as well. And I've also created a book club on Fable so that people who are getting into the Cosmere in 2025, we can all kind of talk about the books together and hold each other accountable. I plan to read one book a month for a while, I think the first half of the year, and then double up on books for June through December. So if you want to join that, I'll leave the link in the description down below, and if you want to join, that would be so great so we can go through the Cosmere, because I believe there is just so much to talk about. I mean, there are so many books. How could there not be a plethora of things to talk about? So I just wanted to be able to get a few people together to just talk about it with them and enjoy the journey with them. I also read a lot of different genres, and so I want to be able to incorporate at least one from each of my primary genres that I read per month so that I can read down my genre specific TBRs. And so the romance one for this month is going to be Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. This has really spoken to me because it's more of a suspenseful romance, and I am just so intrigued by the premise. Okay, so just the top of the book says, when wilderness guide Harper Ward is summoned to her small town Montana sheriff's office to help with a double murder investigation, she's shocked to find that their only suspect in the case is a man cut off from civilization entirely. So I'm guessing, and probably right, that this wilderness guide and this man who's been cut off from civilization are going to fall for one another, but then there's also the double murder as well, so trying to figure out who that is and trying to clear probably his name. I feel like January is a really good time to read more of an isolated, remote environment, so really looking forward to this one. Next up, I've been wanting to finish this series for a while now, but now is better than ever. I stopped reading it when it was time to read more of my spooky books and then my holiday books, so it just kind of got pushed off, but I am going to be continuing on in the Cruel Prince trilogy with, I think The Wicked King is book 2, and then The Queen of Nothing is book 3. These are both by Holly Black. I don't know a ton about them. I know where we left off in The Cruel Prince, but obviously won't be talking much more about it, so there are no spoilers. But I am really intrigued to see what is going to happen in these books. I felt like the beginning of The Cruel Prince was really hard to get through, but once I was in it, I was in it. And I'm hoping that now that everything has been set, that these will be easier to get into. And by completing these, I'll be completing another series, so that will be one of my 12 for the year. Next up is another book that's on my priority TBR list for 2025, which is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by B.E. Schwab. This has been on my list for so long now, and people say that it's going to be a classic one day, and I really want to understand what all the hype's about. And also, did I get the collector's edition without actually reading the book? I sure did. I mean, it's just too stunning to not get. I believe this story is following our main female character who has basically traded her mortality so that she can live forever, but nobody ever remembers her until finally someday somebody does. So I think that'll be a really interesting concept. I have no idea where it's going to go from there or how it is so moving to so many people, but I'm really excited to understand it. Now, from my other favorite genre, which is mysteries and thrillers, I'm going to be picking up Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. This obviously is just giving very wintry vibes because our main female character needs to get home for the holidays, but a snowstorm has grounded her flight, so she doesn't know how she's going to get home. But then her friend, her seatmate from her initial flight comes to the rescue by renting a car with her 3 friends, and they're going gonna drive together to get home for the holidays, but I mean, I'm assuming something goes pretty wrong. But I am definitely looking forward to this one, especially just for the atmosphere of it being like wintry in January. I think it's going to be perfect. And hopefully it has a good audiobook. I typically like to listen to my thrillers and mysteries, so fingers crossed that the audiobook narrator does a great job. And then lastly, this duology has been on my radar for quite some time. I think it's got just such an interesting and unique concept, but I didn't want to pick it up until the sequel had come out. So it finally did, so I'm going to be picking up What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez and Where the Library Hides. So honestly, I don't know a ton about these books. I know that our main female character is in the United States, but then her parents go missing on one of their digs, I believe. It gives mummy vibes, and that's about it for me. I'm not really sure, but I know that so many people really enjoy this series, and I haven't read a YA duology in what feels like forever, and it's one of my favorites. So I am really looking forward to these books, and it also completes, this will be my second series of 12 that I want to read in 2024, and complete reading at least one book of the month per month so that I can get their challenge conquered as well. And those are the books that I hope to get to in the month of January. I have extremely high hopes. I think I'm setting myself up for such a good reading year with all of these books to start the year off, and I'm just really looking forward to them. I think I'm most excited for Mistborn, but who knows, maybe everything else will surprise me as well. I feel like these videos are always super short because I don't have any thoughts on them, obviously, and I don't really know what they're about, so I'm not commenting a ton on them, but I am excited for them nonetheless. And if you have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below, and I will be checking in my weekly reading vlogs throughout the month so you all can see me reading these books. Let me know what you're planning to read in the month of January and where I should start with my TBR, but otherwise I will see you all in the next one. Bye!